Hi, I just wanted to start off by saying hi to all my imaginary friends. It's been a while since I've posted, but since nobody watches my videos, that's a-okay. I recently did a tour of the United States, had a really great time. I went to Denver, then to Florida, and then I went to San Antonio, Texas, and then went to New Orleans for a few days. Then I had a long layover in San Francisco, so I kind of toured the San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, MoMA, this SF MoMA. And it was a really great trip. I had a great time. Sorry for the camera shaking, but once again, no one's gonna ever see this, so it really doesn't matter. I started off the trip in Denver visiting my brother Tito and his kids. I was a little bit disappointed that I didn't get to see all of his kids, but we saw one of his younger kids, Dexter, and Tito and his girlfriend, who's now his wife, Emma, and Emma's family, and it was just really a cool time. Did a bit more drinking than I probably should have, but we played a lot of board games, had a good family time, just kind of joked around and talked. So that was overall quite an enjoyable time. Oh, also did some swimming, and the weather in Denver was very cool, like much cooler than all the other places. I live in Hong Kong. Hong Kong's pretty hot during the summer. Florida, hot during the summer. San Antonio, Texas, swelteringly hot during the summer, or at least when I was there, and then New Orleans quite hot. So compared to all the other cities I went to, Denver was kind of cool and just relaxing. Some days I'd wear like jackets. That's how cool it was. But it was nice to just go swimming with my nephew, play a lot of board games, and just hang out with my younger brother Tito. So that was really cool. Then after that, I flew to Florida. My dad, my stepmom, and a lot of my family, they live in a suburb of Florida, I'm sorry, not a suburb of Florida, a suburb of Tampa, or like probably not even a suburb of Tampa, just like way out in the boonies of Tampa, called Land O'Lakes. So it was good to just kind of get out there, hang with them. Had a barbecue with my family. My older brother Sam, or one of my older brothers Sam, he cooked some really amazing food. It was super delicious. Then, just kind of hung out, went to some nice barbecue restaurants, did the Florida thing, held an alligator, the 3-year-old alligator. That was pretty fun. And then went on a swamp tour. It was insanely hot on the swamp boat. And if you don't know what a swamp boat is or a swamp tour is, it's, not a swamp tour, not a swamp boat. A swamp tour, it was a swamp tour on an airboat, which is what I meant to say. And if you don't know what an airboat is one of those big boats that you might have seen on TV or in movies that have a big fan on the back, and the fan blows the boat instead of having a motor in the water. So that was really cool, except for when it was flaming hot. But it was cool, seeing lots of animals, saw a few alligators, lots of different birds. It was real fun, just kind of a memory. And then that was basically, oh, and then we played some miniature golf and did some swimming. You know, typical family in the summer stuff. And then from there, I flew to San Antonio, and I got a little bit of bad news that I was planning on spending like a week in San Antonio to hang out with my mom, but it didn't work out. She only had a couple days that she could spend in San Antonio, and so we spent those couple days in San Antonio. I saw the Alamo, which I can't remember if I've ever been there. I did spend a lot of summers in Houston, Texas, so we might have gone on a family vacation to San Antonio, but I don't really remember. I got to knock something off my bucket list. I think there was a movie called Cloak and Dagger. Cloak and Dagger was a video game about a kid who got caught up in a spy incident, and it's set in San Antonio, Texas, and there's a scene where he is on the San Antonio Riverwalk and like trying to flee from the spies, keep I think it's like a Nintendo game away from spies because it has the secret code or whatever. It's been probably 20 years, 30 years, probably like 30 years since I've seen this movie. And I just always wanted to go to the Riverwalk, and that was really cool. We did that. Walking around the Riverwalk, not so great. But it was kind of fun. I was with two recovering alcoholics, so we didn't really if we had been into the bar scene, that might have been more fun. But when we got on the boat guided tour ride, that was really cool because it was a lot cooler on there. You get to see things a lot more efficiently because there's not a lot of walking space when you're on the Riverwalk, so you can't walk so fast. But when you're in the boat, you're just cruising around. It was really cool. Got to see pretty much the whole Riverwalk, so that was a lot of fun. Then I'm talking to my mom, and my mom's like, "Hey, can you come back with me to Florida? We're gonna drive." And I'm like, "Oh, maybe that would be fun." And then she mentioned that they were gonna drive through New Orleans, and it had been about 3 or 4 years since I've seen one of my best friends named Charles. And I was like, oh, if we're gonna go to New Orleans, I need to stop by and see Charles. Unfortunately, we got in kind of late to New Orleans, so we didn't get to see him, and then he had to work in the morning on Monday, so we kind of went after he worked in the morning. And then, but it didn't really work with my mom and her boyfriend's schedule, so I ended up just staying in New Orleans, hanging out with Charles for several days. It was a lot of fun. Charles is a cool guy. His wife is amazing. She is very, very talented. He's very talented. Just love kind of talking to them and relaxing. They were very hospitable. Took me to some cool New Orleans bars and went to a Chicago bar, which a lot of people think I'm from Chicago, but actually I only lived in Chicago or in the suburbs of Chicago for 1 year. I lived there and did my thing. Went out from 15 to 16, and so, but my family's from Chicago, so I love the Cubs, and I would have more of an affinity for the Bears if I was into football at all, and if they won, but since they never really seem to win, and I don't really watch football, I'm not a huge big fan of them, but you know, I have good memories of watching the Bulls growing up, and I'd always been a Bulls fan. And one of the defining moments in my life was the Lakers, which I'm from LA. The Lakers and the Bulls were in the championship, and like Michael Jordan was super popular at the time. But being in LA, like a lot, you know, you had to kind of make the decision. Who were you going for? The Bulls or the Lakers? And I was like, I'm going for the Bulls. I'm pro Chicago, pro Michael Jordan. So I got picked on a little bit, and but I just remember, like, I put my flag in the sand, or whatever you call. Like, I planted that flag of Chicago pride, and so that was one of my first, you know, defining moments of being down for Chicago. Now it's a little bit harder because the Cubs and the Dodgers, they play in the same division or whatever. I don't even know. I'm not a super big baseball fan. My brothers would know this better than I do, but, you know, because I'm the unmanly man. But yeah, I watched Ken Burns baseball, became a fan of baseball. I do enjoy watching baseball games once in a while. And then, you know, there's the great conflict if the Cubs and the Dodgers have to go against each other. And I don't really pick. I don't put preference to either one, which probably a lot of people that are true fans would find a cop-out, but I like them both. I root for them both. And if they go up against each other in a decisive game, I am happy either way. So that's just me. Make fun of me. But once again, nobody's going to watch this, so it doesn't matter. Next. So we went to Chicago Bar. We played a lot of board games. That was kind of the big thing. My identity here in Hong Kong, and I guess now with family seeing them, is like I'm a board game guy because I host a board game event here in Hong Kong. So that was kind of cool. And then after doing New Orleans and having a fun time and just kind of chilling there for a few days, I flew to San Francisco early in the morning, and I got to San Francisco by 9 a.m. and my flight did not leave till 11:45 p.m. So I went to the Museum of Modern Art in San Francisco, walked there. Well, no, didn't walk there from the airport. I took the BART and then walked there from the BART station. It was good times. I really want to get more into art and discover more about art. I feel like I felt very moved being there. I think just kind of as I'm getting older, I really value things that impact me emotionally, and feel like I'm becoming, I was always like sensitive in the like I didn't like being picked on and like emotional kind of way, but now I feel like I'm really sensitive in a different way, where I feel like I'm connecting with things and I'm like being moved more, and that being moved really impacts me. So there were a number of art pieces that were just very moving. I saw this one exhibition called The Travelers, which I think is a Norwegian musician, got together a bunch of musicians and created an hour-long music video piece, and it was just very moving, like watching the video. And I'll try to look up some of the other artists and maybe I'll talk about them. Maybe I have some free time, maybe I'll go to the Hong Kong Museum of Art this week or the M Plus and I'll try to take some pictures or videos and then share that since I have a little time before school starts in a few weeks. But yeah, that is basically my summer tour. Now that I'm back, I'm trying to exercise more, and I'm trying to get my goals planned. It was a little emotional coming back. I thought I had had everything squared away with getting stuff done for my PGCE, my teaching certificate, and then it turned out the guy that I'm going to be working for was kind of being a jerk. Like, I don't remember why you want this information, and so I had to like threaten to quit if he didn't get me the help I needed. And so that was like an emotional night while I was waiting for him to give me the information. But then by the next morning, he had sent me the contact for the people that I needed to contact, and so it was all good. But yeah, I was pretty worked up. Like, I need this PGCE for my future plans. Planning to kind of move to mainland China, somewhere in Guangdong province or the Greater Bay, and if I don't have my PGCE, I'll be less qualified, and I really got my hopes up on that. Then another thing I started doing was looking for master's programs. I had kind of had this idea of going to the University of Edinburgh, excuse me, online, and I was going to study digital education, and but then I decided to put that on hold and get my PGCE. But then I learned that the program that I was interested in actually is for teaching higher education, and I teach primary school. So it wouldn't really make a lot of sense for me to do that, to have been enrolled in that program. So I'm glad I dodged a bullet there, but that meant I had to look for another program. And since I live in Hong Kong but want to go to school in the UK, because that's where I got my bachelor's degree from, I feel like I need to, you know, find a good online program. And fortunately I found one. I can't remember the university, or actually I found a few that I'm interested in. One I'm especially interested in. It's a digital education program, so maybe I'll send them some more information to just confirm that it'll help me as a primary school teacher. But yeah, that's it for me. I'm really struggling with my weight. I had been about 300 pounds a few months ago, and then I went on the intermittent fasting and I got down to 290 pounds, and I was just kind of doing this thing where Monday through Friday I would intermittent fast, and then on Saturday and Sunday I would eat dinner. But then I went on holiday and I got back and I was 303 pounds as opposed to the 290 that I had been before I left. So I was like, ah, dang, this is really frustrating. And then I was working out really hard all last week and hoping to lose some weight. And then I had trouble putting on some shorts. So I was like, why are these shorts hard to put on now? Shouldn't I be losing weight? And then I weighed myself and I was 304 pounds. So I know muscle is heavier than fat, so there might be some of that, but then if I was becoming svelte and muscly, my shorts would not fit. So I don't think it's just the muscle. I think for some reason that I don't fully understand, I got fatter. So I'll really need to watch my weight. My goal is to get kind of fit and possibly buff, though I've never been fit and buff, and I'm 46, so that might be a challenge for me, but we'll see. We will see. And I guess that'll be the end of the video. Have a great one. or don't, because there's no one there watching this. Bye-bye.